32, maybe?
How many did you have total?
48. 48.
32 or 48.
Yeah. But they're not gonna all make it.
That's cap. That's cap. That's cap.
What?
You ain't go 32 out of 48.
I'll show you.
Look. Yeah, I believe you. I don't need to. I
Well,
don't need to look.
But then now you gonna make some of them made it that I'm like, well, how the hell did I make it?
Yeah.
I didn't think they made it until I looked the next day. I'm like, oh, you know, in the screen where the highlights.
If they are in the playoffs, like 32 out of 48, I don't give a damn if they lose first. I mean,
Yeah,
like that's
32 out of 48 is damn impressive, especially this year.
I don't know what that means.
That's a lot of yellow.
Yellows
You know what
are
that
the ones that
means?
are in.
Man, like mine don't look like that.
What does yours look like?
You got teams in the playoffs?
I hope so.
You sure you
They let
playing?
me bid on it. They let me bid on these. Like, how do you?
Go to manage lineup.
All I wanna do is put on. Yeah. All I wanna do is put on. Yeah.
All right, welcome to First to 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champion, AB, alongside
Guy with the
him
money.
is
It's the guy with the money.
right, with all
That's all
the
that
bread.
matters.
Alongside
Whatever
him
initials.
is Dio the Machine, our dynasty guru. Guys, let's go through the league again. I don't want to harbor on so many teams this time, but I do want to start off with the AFC East because that is a compelling as hell division. Listen, you guys know I hate the Patriots.
I
I
didn't know you
Mac
hated the
Jones.
Patriots. I thought you hated Mac Jones. So you hate the Patriots.
Yeah, by extension. Yeah.
Okay.
No, he hates Mac Jones too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I also
And
hate
Tom
the
Brady.
Patriots too.
And Troy Brown. Willie McGinnis. He hates all the boys.
Willie McGinnis. Brewski. But that division is becoming compelling, man. Let's talk about the AFC East right quick. Do you guys believe that Buffalo is going to win that division?
We'll see. Buffalo plays New England this week. You know, I've said it like multiple times throughout the year, and when I send out this text, I send it out in all caps. There are no dominant teams in the NFL this year. As far as being dominant on both sides of the ball and just sort of kind of running through whatever opponent they may face. We always know it's any given Sunday and any team can win in any given week, but I think this year that's more true than any year in the past. And even some of these teams that we think of as mediocre, we got to get over that. You know, a team like the New England Patriots are a well-schemed team. They're a well-disciplined team. And Mac Jones is, he's running that offense the way that they want him to run that offense. They have some decent running backs back there. They have a decent O-line, and their defense has really been coming through. When you look at the Buffalo Bills now, they're one-dimensional. They were one-dimensional last year as well.
And that's the problem.
And that's a huge issue.
Yep.
And then we saw this actually starting last year, where these teams that were sort of kind of we consider a high-powered offense like the Seattle Seahawks in the early part of last year. Defenses started adjusting. Said no longer are we going to give you these deep balls. And I think that was the first time the defenses were like, we're going to do this 2 deep zone against the Seahawks. And now teams are doing it against the Chiefs. They're doing it against the Bills. And these quarterbacks are struggling.
The deep ball throwers.
Yeah. And they're struggling because number one,
they're greedy. That's
they're
what
greedy.
it is.
They're real greedy. But two, also, like, they just don't want to run the ball, or they can't run the ball,
Or they don't want to nick and dime it. Like, they don't do the Brady and Rodgers where they just matriculate down the field, which is why they're such great quarterbacks, because they know if they don't have the deep ball, we'll just do it the other way. You know, cut you 1,000 cuts or whatever type thing.
So that takes me to my first question, Dio. If I'm holding on to Singletary on this Buffalo offense, do you think that he's going to get some run sometime during this playoff push?
You know what's crazy? I'm kind of off Singletary, and I'm on the Breida train.
Yep. Oh, man.
Straight up, because Breida looks great, man. First of all, he's always been the fastest running back they have. So he has that juice to him. He's always been a super fast guy. He wasn't going to work, smaller running back, so he's not one to really just go between the tackles. But again, that's not even their offense for their running back. Their running back is use you as needed to, get you in space, dump offs, here and there. But the crazy thing is, with those few touches that he's been getting, he's been scoring touchdowns.
Yep.
Or he's been, getting yacked like crazy. And the coach even said a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week, that they're going to try to give him more work. And we saw it during the Thanksgiving night?
Yep.
Yeah.
We saw him, I think had like 9 or 10 carries, and he even scored a touchdown.
Biggest thing is Zach Moss was inactive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
So,
takeaway.
that pie that we're always talking about, it's now been split with less people. So I personally have Breida on a lot of my teams. I kind of got him a few weeks back, and I'm hoping, he kind of keeps it going.
This is going to be a tell. So watch this game closely because you can kind of get in the mind of Belichick. Like,
they're playing the Patriots. That's right.
They're playing
Okay.
the Patriots. Belichick is going to be scheming to stop Josh Allen and stop Stephon Diggs, probably
Right.
take away, Emmanuel Sanders and Dawson Knox.
Right.
I think he's basically going to say, try to run the ball.
Run the ball.
Try to run the ball. So if Buffalo goes in this game with the mindset of we're going to do what we're going to do and it's not working, and they don't sort of kind of make that quick adjustments, then it's probably never going to happen. Also, that being said, teams have been able to run on the Patriots.
Yeah.
So if you're a team like the Bills who can win through the air, and then you're playing the Patriots, who we just saw what the Tennessee Titans did to them, a depleted Tennessee Titans team. We saw Dontrell Hilliard and Foreman run through that defense. If we don't see either Singletary or Breida really sort of kind of take off, then we got to be worried about trusting these guys in our starting lineup. But if we see it, I'm with you. I like how efficient Breida is. He's someone where if he can get double-digit touches, 11 to 12 touches a game, I mean, it's well worth it, especially if a couple of those are catches.
I mean, times are tough out here anyways, man. Running backs,
Exactly.
they going down like flies,
and
man. You just got to get somebody. I'm starting Tevin Coleman too. Shoot.
man.
Let's go.
Coleman.
Yeah, so.
All right. Speaking of running backs going down like flies, so listen, Damian Harris missed the game. Rodmore Stevenson came in, did a bang-up job. They still have J.J. Taylor.
Ramondre, but yeah.
Ramondre, sorry.
Put some respect on his name. We know you don't like the Patriots. Come on now.
But let's talk about the Patriots backfield. Do you feel comfortable starting Damian Harris in this playoff push?
I think he's matchup dependent. And again, like you
And
said,
it's not the matchup.
Yeah, this ain't the
week.
matchup.
It's not the matchup.
We learned that last week
Yeah.
with that Tony Jones play.
Yeah, it's not the matchup.
But I think he's a great matchup play. But just understand that, it's a split backfield, so you really are banking on a touchdown. Whether or
Even
not
matchup though, like last week, who the Patriots play last week again?
Titans.
Titans.
It wasn't the greatest matchup.
It wasn't the greatest matchup, but still, it wasn't a bad matchup. But he only had like 11 carries, and if he didn't get that touchdown, I think he only had 40 yards. If he didn't get that touchdown, he wouldn't have really, because he's not getting the passing work like that, So it's hard for me to trust him regardless of the matchup. I like Stevenson, but if they're going to split it 50-50, man, I don't know, man.
Stevenson is the one, and we said this, a while ago. That's the guy that I want because of his abilities in the passing game.
Yeah.
But
What did Bowden do last week?
And that's a good question because he didn't do much last week.
Okay.
But honestly, he's the guy that I see them incorporating in the game plan this week because the idea shouldn't be, let's go in there and try and run on this Buffalo front, through the interior. I'm assuming that they're probably going to try and work the receivers,
Especially with Tre'Davious White.
Tre'Davious White is out,
I can see that.
and then try and get their backs out of the backfield on these linebackers. So, but we'll see. They'll probably obviously get their Titans involved. So
That's a
it'd be an
DFS
interesting
play, folks. Brandon Bowden.
Brandon Bowden.
Brandon Bowden. He's probably mid-price too. You never know.
Don't do
In the
that.
group chat, I always put, count me out.
that.
Let's jump to the NFC East. Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second. Listen, we got into an argument over
We're not gonna
Thanksgiving.
talk about the Dolphins.
Do you
And
wanna
the
talk about
Jets.
Do you want to talk about the Dolphins?
we gotta talk
Let's
about
just
them
say
all.
something
We
about
gonna-
both
we
of
not
them.
gonna-
What do you want to say about the
I don't
Jets?
want to say much about the
No.
Jets.
Look, yeah,
But,
What do you wanna say
I'll
about
say
the Jets?
this, and we've already alluded to it. Tevin Coleman, I think, is a okay play if you're in a pinch.
Yeah.
Michael Carter should be back in a couple weeks, maybe. But right now, the pie has been split with less people.
Yeah.
So you got Ty Johnson, Tevin Coleman, then they gave Austin Walters.
Walters got some run.
Some bird.
He got he came in on the goal line.
Yeah, he
That's
got the
what
goal
hurt.
line work. He got the
That's
goal
what
line
hurt.
work.
And then Elijah Moore is obviously, I think, especially if Flacco.
But here's the thing with Elijah. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. With
Flacco's
Elijah Moore,
back.
he was good with Flacco, but last week he didn't do much.
Yeah.
because Zach Wilson was in.
I know. Who's starting this week? Wilson or
We
Flacco?
don't know. Flacco just came off the
COVID.
So we'll see. I think if Flacco's back there, I like Elijah Moore, but they're also playing the Eagles, and the Eagles have been extremely stingy extremely stingy against wide receivers in the passing game.
But if Zach Wilson is healthy, they have to go with their first round.
That's what I'm thinking. They I feel like they feel like they're forced to.
Yeah.
How did Corey Davis do last week?
Nothing.
He was out.
He was out.
Oh, he was out. So who was Wilson going to? I'm talking like I wasn't watching the game as a Texans fan.
Crowder was still in. I mean, they were bad as normal. I mean, like
Zach
Walter,
Wilson was bad.
Yeah, like they were
He was bad.
Yeah.
Eventually, I mean, Elijah Moore got some, but it was still bad.
I think he's getting targets. He just didn't get in the end zone.
And I want to say Keelan Cole is even on IR. So they
You might
are
be
kind of
right.
banged up as
Denzel
well.
Mims just came back from COVID IR too.
He did,
If
but
they decide to finally use him,
I give up on him.
But forget the Jets. Let's talk about the Dolphins because I've been talking trash about the Dolphins. They've been looking great.
That defense looks great.
That defense
looks
That
great.
defense. That defense.
Yeah.
Even their offense. Miles Gaskin. Y'all know I don't trust Miles Gaskin at all, and I still don't trust Miles Gaskin. I don't give a damn.
Play him.
But
it's matchup dependent. If it's like it's I don't know. I've just been leaving them in my lineups, understanding because this is the thing. We like to kind of talk a lot of shit about Myles Gaskin, but look at the rest of the running back landscape. Not everyone is out here just producing on a week to week basis.
That's true.
That's
true.
And I think Myles Gaskin has produced more weeks than not. So if you find yourself trying to guess, it may be difficult. I think, he's playing the Texans. I want him in there. Whether he does good or not, you just got to play him for those, soft, easy matchups.
I will say this with Myles Gaskin, he's definitely not getting the full workload. I don't even think he's getting 50% of the workload. They were playing a little bit of Salvon Ahmed last week, and they just picked up Philip Lindsay, and he was getting a fair amount of work.
No, I would disagree. I think when you look at like running backs over like the last few weeks, I think I saw something on Twitter. He's like top 12 in carries, top 12.
Who,
in touches.
Gaskin?
Gaskin, yeah, he's getting work. And he got work last week. He wasn't efficient with the work,
right?
But he got.
But
work
I'm just
last
saying,
week.
like they're giving these other running backs work as well. And I think I saw a quote recently where the coach said they want to give Lindsay even a little bit more work. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that would make sense.
We'll see what happens.
But what I like too is that they also had some design plays for Gaskins. Like I think
and he's getting the passing work too.
Yeah, they had him in a wildcat on the goal line,
Yeah.
and he's getting passing work. Like he's doing enough to where and you drafted him as an RB2, RB3. So
Yeah, and he's efficient as hell
Yeah.
too. Like he's getting those touchdowns.
again, we live in rough times.
Crazy.
You know,
Yeah, it's
Bengals
rough,
can't
man. It's rough, man. Hey,
Speaking of
you
rough
gotta do what
times,
you gotta
like
do.
Waddle has been a pretty decent play the last couple of weeks. As well.
I love Waddle, man.
So Waddle, this is one of those things where, like, when I look back at the end of the year, because I had 0% shares of Waddle, and it was by design. I think if you got him at cost, great, but I was not, going to try and get him in the 7th rounds. And part of that was because I felt like there were too many mouths to feed, and it was via a quarterback who I just didn't have a lot of belief in Tua.
Mm-hmm.
He was definitely one of my sleeper picks, but it was a sleeper pick for that reason, not a confidence pick. So at the beginning of the season, it was Devontae Parker, it was Will Fuller, Gosicki, and then they also incorporate their running backs into the passing game as well. Mm-hmm. So we've seen we've seen Fuller and Devontae Parker pretty much be out the majority of the year, and so it's been Waddle by necessity. And credit to him, like he stepped up, and that was one of those plays where if you just went and said I'm drafting based on talent, you hit. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes next year and whether or not I'm thinking to myself again, like he's overvalued or potentially a value.
And one more thing before we move on to the Dolphins, real quick about Mike Gosicki. So initially, beginning of the season, we were real sour on him because he wasn't getting much work. Brissett came in. Brissett started to feed him. He started looking great. Started looking almost like a wide receiver playing the tight end position. Tui came back. Gosicki for a couple games was still looking okay. But these last few games, he's like tailed off quite like a lot.
Yeah, he has.
Like he's almost not even playable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I have much Gosicki at all. But if I did have him, I'd be real nervous about playing him. Yeah. Because now it's starting to look more like I'd look at the beginning of the season where Tua wasn't really feeding him, and you got Devontae Parker coming back. So now somebody else is there.
He coming back?
He's getting activated IRs from what they're saying.
He did. Oh, what time is it?
It's 8:37. Wow, like you want to take a
Make
break
that move.
So
Yeah, make that move.
Let me take a break now.
Right.
I think I had him as a drive.
Make the move while we talk.
Make the move. Go make the move. Because I do want to talk about. Because I do want to move on a bit and talk about the Cowboys for a second. Y'all know how I feel about
Pollard and Zeke.
Zeke and Pollard. We had a conversation preseason. Oh no, it wasn't preseason. It was in Q1 where we talked about, hey man, maybe Pollard should be getting more touches. Like, is
Man,
Pollard the guy that's there? Listen, I'm going to go out on a limb.
We damn near ruined Thanksgiving.
Right. With our politics. We did. We almost ruined Thanksgiving.
What do you mean y'all ruined
Arguing.
it?
Oh, man, we just argued the whole time.
While y'all watching the game?
Yeah, while you was watching, yeah.
This man
The whole
was
family
on
was
his-
upset.
This man was on his Pollard-ish.
Yeah. I was.
Zeke was
I had
hurt,
a few,
though.
too. So.
Zeke was hurt.
Yeah. Zeke is a little banged up, but I'm going to go out on a limb. Zeke won't be a Cowboy next year. I said it now.
Oh, I believe you. I agree with you, but that's a contract thing as well. You
Yeah.
know, don't forget that contract they got is just too large for what they have to do because they have to play other players. You know, and they're seeing how expendable Zeke is for them. They have another running back still on a rookie contract that is producing just as well, in some places better than Zeke. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't have the pass protection ability that Zeke has,
Right.
and I don't think he's ever going to get it.
Yeah.
But
See, I'm just not here for all the Tony Pollard is better than Zeke take. You know, I don't think people really appreciate how good Zeke is. The other thing too is, let's see Tony Pollard get through a full season getting 20 plus touches.
Yeah, no, he probably
and let's
can't.
see how he looks at the end of that season.
But
and let's see how he
But
looks
the thing
going
is,
into
there are
the second year.
there are a lot of running backs who can't get through getting 20 like Zeke isn't getting 20 carries
No, but I think-
game, and he's banged up now.
I think what would happen if they did let go of Zeke is, I don't think it's going to be the Tony Pollard show. I think
Right.
they'll bring
Maybe
somebody else
that would be
in
stupid, yeah.
to share the workload with them. But even those two contracts will be less than how much they're paying.
Exactly.
From a contract standpoint,
You know?
100% agree.
Yes.
But from when people talk about, Pollard is just better than Zeke, that's where I drop. That's
Well,
where
so
I
I'll
no,
say
no.
this.
That's what a
Pollard
buck stops with me.
looks Pollard's talent or skill level looks on par to an injured Zeke. That's my thing. If Zeke wasn't injured,
Yeah.
I think Zeke will definitely be better
they're
by
different
far.
types of backs. But
They are.
You know,
Yeah.
Zeke is just that all-around back. He's like a foundational back.
He is.
Pollard, to me, is a great compliment. And then if somebody goes down, he's great for a couple of games. But he's not someone who I'm just going to say, okay, I can get rid of Zeke.
How you
because I
gonna
got Tony
disrespect Pollard like this and he helped you win the money last year?
He sure
like, you
did.
should be,
That's
you
what
should
I
have
wanted
a
to
Pollard
say.
jersey.
I wanted to
You
say
should have
that
a
man the
Pollard
money,
jersey
though.
right there.
I wanted to say that Thursday, but I felt
Like
like
it just hit me. Like what you doing?
Hey man,
I feel like that
it
was
ain't-
going low.
You know,
That's what I
look,
wanted to do.
I'm not Jerry Jones. It's not about what you did for me. I'm not giving you love because what you did for me. I'm here
got
for
you.
what you about to do
I
for me
got
right
you.
now.
But no,
Hey.
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
The check's
To
already
me-
cashed, right?
right, it's
that's already cash, bro. Like
Here's the thing with Zeke. With
it was
me.
nice knowing you. Like, we appreciate your services, but we moving on right now.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with Zeke with me. Zeke is a guy who needs a lot of carries. He's a volume running back.
He doesn't need
If
a lot
you're
of carries.
If you're going to give him 9 carries a game, he's not going to be effective. And
That's
I said
not
that
true.
early. I said that in the first quarter.
Okay.
Please go back and watch the
I don't-
first quarter. And I
He was
said
hurt,
this.
though.
He needs a lot of carries.
See, that's the thing. If you're comparing him to the way he looks now, it's hard for me to judge him because he is hurt.
But he's saying that he was hurt. All right. So, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say that he was hurt in the first quarter, he's hurt now, but yet he's the only running back on that
No,
roster.
I don't think he was
who
hurt in the
can
first
carry a
quarter.
full load.
No, he was hurt going into the game. But the fact that he is hurt and able to play through injuries is significant. Because a lot of running backs, CMC, they get hurt, they go on IR.
Yeah.
Okay, he's able to play through injuries.
All right.
He's taking those needed touches that Pollard does not need to take, so that Pollard can come in the game and look all spry and look quick. Oh, Pollard just like if you don't, you need to get your eyes checked if you think that Zeke looks better than Pollard. You're damn right. I mean, Zeke just carried the ball 20 times, and Pollard comes in off the bench, fresh.
He
Of
doesn't
course he's
carry the
gonna look
ball
better.
20 times. So
Of
that's the
course
thing,
he's gonna
though.
look
He
better.
doesn't carry the ball 20 times. And like we were saying this in the first quarter episode. So Zeke hadn't had the wear and tear of a full season during
Has
that
Zeke
time.
been producing from a fantasy standpoint?
Yeah.
Damn right. Okay, let's move on, please.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, let's also,
right.
and I think the point we're making, which we're not really saying, is we need to give the Cowboys offense credit for the way they're using them.
Yeah,
because they are to some extent complementing each other, and they're getting a good a good amount from them.
I got a short list of OCs and head coaches that are just in my favorites that I target players from those teams.
And you think
and
Kellen
Kellen Moore is in that list. Love me some Kellen Moore.
All right, before we move on from the Cowboys, listen, Amari Cooper is activated off IR. Do you guys feel comfortable playing Amari Cooper this fast?
No, I do not. I mean, I'll play him if I have to, but I don't feel comfortable about it.
Nah.
I don't feel
Same
good
thing?
about it.
I think he's still. I know he still has sick or COVID symptoms, so his body is probably not fully, up to par. I think he's gonna be kind of gutting it out there just to kind of be there for the team. They don't really need him because really they have everybody back now, except for maybe Blake Jarwin, who they're not using.
Well, Cedric Wilson's out.
Yeah, but
Just a
I mean, but that's a
return.
rotation. That's a rotational receiver.
Yeah, but
because then it's like Cedric Wilson's out, so now we got to have Noah Brown kind of take his spot.
Yeah, but Cedric Wilson's a wide receiver 4 because remember they just got Gallup back too.
Right.
Gallup wasn't playing for most of the season, so I mean I don't feel like they have to use Cooper. I feel like he's gonna be and he's gonna bring attention, regardless,
But
So
this is what's tough about these situations is that we just don't know.
right.
Because we've all been sick at some point. Actually, I don't really get sick, but from what I hear.
Yeah, Superman over here. Yeah.
No, but you all get sick at some point. Sometimes it's like something that can like really knock you out, and sometimes it's something that's like minor. So when they say he's ill, we don't know what that means. And then like we hear that on Monday and Tuesday, Thursday comes around, we don't know how he feels. But we also like for me personally, when I'm sick, the first thing I go do is work out. Because when I work out, for whatever reason, I always feel better when I do that. And when I'm working out, I don't feel sick. And I think it just is one of these like human element type deals where we don't know. So yeah, it's a risk, but he could literally be playing it close to 100%.
So in other words,
produce.
So in other words, we shouldn't give Jordan as much credit for that flu game. The way
Man, that's not that's not disrupt this.
Was Jordan really sick though? But anyways, that's a whole nother conversation.
Really, you too?
It's just Jordan.
I'm just saying.
Oh man.
Hey, but real quick,
Let's not digress. Go ahead.
The only thing I got to say about that is, you're right. We don't know, but I think it then becomes risk tolerance. Are you going to risk saying, well, we don't know, but let's just see, or are you going to say let him play? If he's sick and he's not doing this thing, then at least okay.
So who you starting him over? You gonna start Devontae Smith over him?
Devontae Smith?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's on bye.
Devontae Smith's not on bye.
No. Devontae Adams. Sorry.
Yeah. I'll definitely start Devontae Adams over. But yeah.
Devontae Smith, you starting over him?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I would.
Interesting.
I would. Because Devontae Smith's still the number 1 wide receiver for that team.
Yeah, but if Gardner Minshew's playing, I'm definitely starting Devontae Smith. But if Jalen Hurts is playing,
yeah, I'm just saying, like, I could easily see a scenario where Amari's out there and he's just a decoy. And then at the end of the game, we're looking at Amari 2 targets for 16 yards.
Right.
And then I'm mad that I played him. And then it's a Thursday night game. I got to think for the next 3 days.
That's why it's a personal decision. So if your mindset is that, like, I'm not sure if he's going to be a decoy, if he's healthy, and you play him and you're going to be upset because he didn't get a lot of targets or he's in and out of offense, don't play him.
Yeah.
But if your mindset is, look, I don't know. I don't trust these other wide receivers that I would put ahead of him. Yeah. Like he's still Amari Cooper. He's still in a high-powered offense.
Yeah.
And the Saints do have a fairly good defensive line. We got an injured Zeke. How well is Pollard really going to be able to run it?
Real quick, in 3 wide receiver sets, who's the slot guy for the Cowboys right now? Is it CD?
I think they will rotate, but I think CD plays most of the slot.
So if CD's going to be in a slot. I know it's not Gallup. So if CD's going to be in a slot,
but they rotate.
Lattimore is probably going to be.
They rotate
on Amari, right?
I don't think Lattimore's really been rotating. And number one, Lattimore hasn't really been all that good this year.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
He has not been shut down.
Right.
So
I'm just saying, it just makes it a little bit more difficult for Amari.
All right, so let's talk about the Giants for a second. Listen, I'm not going to rail against Daniel Jones.
Go ahead, it's okay.
No, I'm not going to rail against Daniel Jones. He's as bad as I thought he was. He is who I thought he was. And at the beginning of the season, we let him off the hook.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that Giants offense for a second. They stay banged up. Do you feel comfortable starting Darius Slayton? Kadarius Toney, I mean, still a little banged up. I think he's questionable right now.
So
he didn't practice.
Yeah, Daniel Jones may not even play.
Yeah.
With the neck injury.
Yeah,
right?
we may see Glennon. If we see Glennon, I actually kind of like the pass targets a little bit better.
What?
And really, I like Saquon Barkley a lot better because I feel like he's more willing to check down. Daniel Jones does not check down. There's so many times where I see like
Daniel Jones should not be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I've accepted it.
And then,
let that go.
Yeah, and then you got Kenny Golladay, who really, he's never really been a separator, but like they've been off, and then Darius Slayton's really an outside wide receiver. They don't, Kadarius Toney's been injured, Shepard's out. They don't really have a true slot wide receiver. And then really the major issue was Jason Garrett That was the biggest issue, okay? Obviously, the injuries have taken a toll, but the biggest issue, and this is, I think what really derailed this offense as a whole.
You were railing against them in the group chat, so I was like, I'm going to give you credit on it. During, I think, either that Monday night game or that Thursday
It was the Monday night game.
Monday night game, like
one
you were
of the
going
worst
nuts.
offensive coaching, coaching like outside of the Sean Payton Thanksgiving game, but like literally one of the worst offensive call games I've seen in quite some time. It was just so vanilla.
I'm sorry. I
so
didn't mean to
predictable.
What was Sean Payton doing?
I don't know.
We can get to that later, but golly.
Man, he killed Tony Jones.
Yeah.
He killed everybody.
He killed Tony. I honestly, I feel like, I'm not going to even say it. Let's go.
I ain't never seen Sean Payton
But
coach a
Dale-
game like that, man.
Dale, like, if Daniel Jones is not out there gunslinging, why won't they just stack the box and prevent and make Glennon win the game? Like,
I mean, they might.
make him win. Like,
They're playing the Dolphins this week, right?
right.
That's a tough matchup.
That's a tough matchup.
I hope y'all got those Miami Dolphins defense.
That's a tough
I got a lot.
matchup. I got a few of them, but that's a tough matchup. We'll see what happens. Because I think Abby is making a good point. Glennon might actually be better for them somehow, some way.
I think so.
than
I
Daniel
got a
Jones.
sick feeling.
I mean, the
that
bar is
Glennon-
not that high.
Yeah, right, right.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, hopefully he's better for Ingram because
Garrett
Kyrie-
broke him. Garrett is the new Gase.
Oh God, yeah, I don't know if anybody's
Garrett
the
and
Gase.
Gase.
But
I got my trusted OCs and I got my shit OCs. And never again will he get me.
Never again.
He shouldn't have another job ever again. Go to
he
college
will.
or something.
We know how that's
He
gonna
will.
go. We know how that'll go.
Yeah, like he will. Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, Jalen stayed in the top 12 quarterbacks week in, week out. Kind of burned us a little bit, but do you feel comfortable playing him in the playoffs?
Bruh, he took me from like 50% plus, ready to like enter the playoffs.
He's talking about FFPC, by the way.
Man, he killed me. He crushed some hopes and dreams.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, but you know what? You live, you hurt. And I think he was actually hurt. It actually wasn't even Jalen Hurts. Okay, I know.
It might have been Miles Sanders too.
No,
Miles Sanders hurt me.
So number one, like I played Jalen Hurts knowing that he is not a pocket passer. So I'm not gonna get upset that the fact that like he just didn't, you live and you die by those types of Konami code quarterbacks who kind of limited in the passing game. What killed us, and I've said this since day one, Jalen Reagor is not an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's a punt returner. You want to give him that. You want to have him kind of come in and do some gadget plays. He is not an NFL wide receiver. You need to be able to make a play.
Or just
When
catch
have
the
you
ball.
ever seen him make? He does not like make or just catch the ball.
Yeah.
Two touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two touchdowns.
And let's not let Watkins off the hook. He should be kind of taking that role over. He's not even doing it.
Yeah.
They need another receiver there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because they've drafted 2 in the first round back-to-back
One of
seasons.
the worst wide receiving cores in the league.
I don't know why they don't bring a veteran in or somebody.
Should have brought Golden Tate in. That
Yeah,
would have
that
been
would've been a
smart.
nice one.
You get a nice little guy, a nice little, sort of kind of, someone who you can like third and short, third and medium.
Somebody
like,
just make life easier for her.
It
Just
can
a
help
little
move the
bit,
chains a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to call Sirianni, see if we could put
But
that
that
in
running
there or
game,
something.
though, the running game is something that like is going to be tough. And they're going against the Jets this week.
Yep.
I'm like, if Miles Sanders is healthy, I'm probably playing him. If I got Boston Scott,
He
I'm
practiced
likely
this week.
playing him.
I mean, so
as long
Miles,
as Jordan Howard is out.
Miles
Yeah.
Sanders practiced.
Yeah.
Howard and Scott didn't. Howard due to his knee. Scott because he was sick.
All right.
So
That might put your theory to the test of, hey, guys are not practicing during the week. Will we see like some of these role players like actually get some burn, get some plays?
it
They-
doesn't apply in this situation. But
Last week also
that
though
theory, I think,
they
has played well throughout the season.
they brought back Kenneth Gainwell, so don't forget about him. He got a little bit of work.
he got a lot of run towards it.
Yeah,
He
he
was
got-
there 2 minute
yeah,
back, and
yeah,
actually
he got work.
that's actually a very,
So
very
that's
important part.
a little sleeper
but
right there.
they are playing the Jets.
Yeah.
Right.
So at the very least, though, they should be in the game.
Right.
If not, having at least a lead throughout most of the game. And the Jets has just been atrocious, but specifically like on the ground, so they should be able to run. I think as long as their O line is healthy. I think they had an issue. I think Kelsey got injured, and I think whoever came in for Kelsey just got destroyed. And so I think their offensive line and their protection became an issue. So hopefully Kelsey's back this game, but again, they're playing the Jets, so.
All right, Washington football team, the last team to talk about in the NFC East. McKissick got hurt.
He's out.
Yeah,
He's out this week.
Got hurt last game.
It's. Let me not say for sure, but it's highly
He's usually
likely.
pretty accurate with
Yeah,
this.
it's highly likely. That concussion.
Yeah.
It's a concussion?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Washington football team, McKissick is out. He's the one who kind of knocked like that one team that I thought that was going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's the one who knocked that team out.
You have McKissick on your team?
No, I didn't have McKissick, but he put up 22 points before he
Oh,
got hurt.
dang.
Yeah. Killed me. But that's all right, though. You know, I mean, bad beat.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Washington football team. Curtis Samuel is back. Didn't do much last game, but at least he's back.
He had the usage.
Right.
They were turning him on like reverse motions. You know, it seemed like they were trying to get him involved in the offense again.
Yep.
If he gets that health back.
I know you're excited.
Oh, I was happy. and then that one play where he caught the ball, he ran a little bit, and then he got excited, got it. Yeah. I was like, yeah.
What's that?
Let him know. First down. Let him know. Christian, you was like, y'all see that?
Oh yeah, we thought you didn't even have to say the text. I already knew. I knew it one day. It was just.
Oh
He
man.
was on it.
Oh man.
But no, so the Washington football team, just kind of, from a macro standpoint, this is like I think we see this every year. Teams that start off slow, especially their defense, was like atrocious, but then come on late. And sometimes I don't think we pick it up until it's like too late.
Too late, yeah.
So this defense has been playing pretty good, even with the loss of Chase.
Yeah.
For a number of weeks now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so you have to take that into account. That's important for a number of reasons. Because one, we saw really, I think we for the first time saw like the coming of Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
What Antonio Gibson could
Ooh,
be.
he looked good.
He looked damn
Like
good.
a workhorse.
Exactly.
You know, like he could take all of it.
Yeah.
So if McKissick is out and you got Antonio Gibson, that's just great. That's just a lovely spot
Smash
to
play?
be in. It's a smash play.
You know what?
It's
Quick
an
sleeper.
absolute smash play.
Not you just saying that just made me realize y'all should probably consider looking at Jared Patterson.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yes,
just
he
as a sleeper because we know Gibson. Even in the game, Gibson
Yeah.
got hurt early.
Yeah.
Had to come out, and every time he's on the ground, it just looks like
when he got bent back too. Oh, but that was DeAndre Carter missed a block. He should have had a touchdown on that.
Yeah. But
So-
Patterson is one injury away right now.
Yeah,
So.
but the Washington football defense, just like keep that in the back of your mind. And we talked about it earlier. I feel like the Chiefs may be another one of those defense. They played very well. We were all surprised to see that KC Dallas game like come significantly under and see like both teams struggle. Some of that may have just been KC's defense, coming around. They did the same thing last year where the defense was like really bad, and then Spagnuolo like made some adjustments, and they were able to play a little bit better. So these things like it's hard because you never know if it's just a one-off or if this is really a team making the transition. Same thing with the Miami Dolphins, And so some of these teams sometimes they just find their stride. They gain confidence. They get a little bit of moxie with themselves, and they just they take off.
Yeah.
Miami was the Dolphins. The Washington football team. These were some of the defense that people were like drafting is like
Boy, that secondary looks good though.
So we'll see though. But that's the one thing I wanted to say about keep that in mind about these teams that are taking off, and conversely keep it in mind about teams that are like on the downtrend.
Or like Lamar right now and the Baltimore Ravens. So listen, let's move. Oh man, to the AFC North. Lamar is killing me every time he plays a primetime game. Of course, Dorsey. With his text message, Lamar sucks. And this last one, I just have to eat it. Yeah, I know. Like I just have to eat it this game. What in the hell is going on with Lamar and the Ravens right now? Marquise seems to be back, no injury designation, but Lamar looks terrible.
I'm not too concerned, to be quite honest. Sometimes you just gotta chalk it up. Maybe bad play. This is a division game. Like I get it. We've seen some bad moments. I'm honestly not that concerned. I really am not. Lamar is in my starting lineup.
He's definitely your star. You can't bench Lamar.
Yeah. No.
But let me ask y'all this: do y'all think he's running less, or their scheming runs less for him?
I think he's definitely running less.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about it let's rewind back to 2020 and look and remember Deshaun Watson. Remember we talked about it? I think sometimes some of these like quarterbacks who can run, they hear the outside chatter about them not being, pocket quarterbacks. and they make it a point. Because I remember watching Deshaun Watson last year. I'm like, dude, like you could just run and pick up like 7-8 yards like real quick. And they stay back there because I think they want to prove that they can be true pocket passers. And I think that's what Lamar is doing this year. And I think for the rest of his career, for his future, I think it's important that he does that. Because yes, he makes some very bad mistakes, but his body language, his emotions, his response when I see him on the sideline, are almost as if what mistake did I make? How can I learn from that? And hopefully he does, but he's just a player that I don't worry about. But I definitely think he is purposefully staying in the pocket, trying to be a pocket passer, with the exception of those design runs. And then when he has to, he will.
But the reason I'm bringing it up because this is a fantasy podcast. That hinders his value a lot, regardless of the growth as a quarterback. If he's not running, because the big thing about him is he was almost like a running back playing wide receiver. You're getting those running back type stats. If we can't account for that anymore, if we're just accounting for him being a passer, he comes back to the pack a lot, So that's something I want to look at the rest of this season, and that's going to kind of determine where I kind of value him next year. Yeah,
Also, what about that backfield? Listen, Murray is back. Devontae Freeman is still there, seems to have gotten the lion's share of the work last week. What about that backfield? Do you feel comfortable starting any running back in that backfield, Dio?
I think that. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, because me personally, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if I have to, yeah. If I had to start one, it would be Freeman. But the ceiling is so low.
It's so low.
Because if you don't score a touchdown, like last week, what did he get? 4 or 5 points?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know.
Much.
Yeah. It's a matchup play for me. Like you want to see a situation where they're going to be in positive game scripts against, a bottom of the pack or below half of the pack defensive, a run defense. So, they got the picks. They got the Steelers coming up this week. I actually think it's a decent matchup. Steelers have been beat up.
Casey Hayward is a beast though.
Yeah,
defensive tackle.
He is.
But I think T.J. Watt is he out? I know he had COVID.
He was banged up last week.
But I think they put him on the COVID list.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
So it's to be determined.
Double check. Yeah,
we'll see. He's definitely a matchup play. He's definitely not a player that's like a fixture in your starting lineup.
But if you were to start one again, it would be Freeman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Murray's almost. I mean, if you don't want to, I guess a handcuff you can hold on to him, but he's almost droppable because he's not giving you anything anymore.
He's like a short yardage back. They bring him in on short yardage situations. Sometimes you see him in the goal line, but it's really Devontae Freeman's backfield.
Yeah, Freeman got it.
Let's talk about the Bengals for a second. Jamar Chase has taken a step back a little bit. Let's talk about the Bengals offense. He's still the receiver to own, but you got to start him week in, week out. So this is not a question about who do you start or whether you start him or not. But who else are you targeting in that offense if he has taken that step back?
I mean, you don't have to start him. You probably don't have anybody better that you can start.
Yeah.
But he's not one of those guys like that. I'm just like, okay, like I'm not like even considering other players. Like if I feel like I got a good read on the situation, I will sit his ass. But again, I wasn't a big Jamar Chase. This is one of those situations where you can be right and wrong.
Let's stop right there. Both of y'all. Like, how many players are you starting over Jamar Chase?
I'm starting him.
Okay.
I'm starting him. Y'all know he's my guy. But y'all also know my other guy. Y'all haven't mentioned his name once, and I'm surprised. It's T. Higgins.
He came
and
out
T. Higgins has been balling. See, the thing with T. Higgins is he wasn't scoring touchdowns, but he was getting targets. So, I mean, if you think about positive regression, you knew it was bound to happen. But he was still give you a high floor.
Yeah.
And I mean, T. Higgins, for most teams, he's probably not their wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Maybe not even their wide receiver 2. So he's like that great flex receiver. And if he can have a game like he did last week, I mean, Yahtzee. You know what I'm saying? So the concern really, and the question was, who on the offense can you trust? I don't think you can trust Tyler Boyd anymore.
No,
at all. You could definitely trust Mixon. He's like almost a top 3-4 running back.
And that's the thing. And I brought this up the last pod. Is there really a running team? The offense runs through Mixon.
Yeah.
And their defense has been playing well. And I think the people haven't realized. I was telling y'all, I mentioned it. I was like, I was kicking myself at like not playing more Cincinnati Bengals defense because it just seemed like the perfect spot to be playing them in. But their defense is playing well. This is one of those situations again. This is why it's so hard to trust like these O-line rankings at the beginning of the year. Mixon has looked very, very good, and when they can run the ball, they want to run the ball. And then when they don't, and then they do, they'll have like a play action pass. And it can be anybody from, Chase to Higgins to Boyd to Zoma, or even one of the backs out of the backfield. And that's why we've seen Burrow not really have these blow up weeks.
Game.
Is because they really are focusing on the run game. They're being smart.
Yeah.
They know they have
They're
a
a
defense.
balanced offense.
They're a very
to
balanced
the extreme,
team, and that's why they're doing so well. They are very balanced. They can beat you multiple ways. So again, we kind of had a discussion earlier about how this year I think is kind of setting the tone of what the NFL and what fantasy football is going to look like for the next coming years. Every year is different, but I think this year is a transition where we no longer have these elite players. We no longer have these studs, where that tier is so wide and you got to have one or two of these guys to really win. Teams are spreading the ball around, which means the fantasy production is getting spread evenly. And so to me, I'm already trying to figure out how that's going to change my drafting approach moving forward next year.
By the way, Dale, I love that you said Yahtzee. When I used to win a trial, I used to say Yahtzee to opposing counsel, and they would hate it. It's the most. Oh yeah, I'd be like Yahtzee. You say it right there. As soon as the verdict came out,
I'm not surprised.
And they hated it. They hated it, and nobody really got that. But anyway,
that's why people don't want to play Monopoly with us anymore.
Oh yeah. No. We used to play board games during the holidays, but we're so competitive that now we just watch TV.
Yeah. They don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Remember when we played spades?
Oh,
let us be on the same team.
Man.
We digress.
All right. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. They seem to have spiraled out. They're on bye this week. Do you guys still roster D'Ernest? No, you dropped him already.
Yeah.
Or did you drop him in the FFPC format? If you drop him after week 11, then you can't pick him back up.
Yeah, he can't be picked back up. Yeah. That's. Damn, should I say that? Okay, I'll say it.
Go ahead, say it. Put it up there.
There's a certain part of FFPC where when you drop a player, he's no longer available to be picked back up. And with that in mind, I tend to keep players that I think I want to drop until that point, and then drop them so he can't be used against me somehow. I mean, that's everybody knows about that, but that's something I do. So yeah, I did drop him. I think he started week 11. I did drop him week 11. So it was the week where Chubb was back. No, not even Hunt was back yet. Chubb was back.
Because Hunt just came back.
Hunt just came back. But Chubb came back. D'Ernest was there, and D'Ernest got no work.
Yeah.
And it was just Chubb and D'Ernest. And I think, was Felton there too? Maybe Felton was there. Felton got a little bit of passing work. But you would think they would spell Chubb. I think it was a game where Chubb had the most carries all season. His first game back. So I was like, if they can't even trust Chubb D'Ernest when it was just Chubb and him, how are they going to give him anything when Hunt comes back? So
and really, I mean, it's one of those situations where now he's 2 or 3 players removed from being a starter. Before, when Hunt was out, when we knew Hunt was going to be out for an extended period of time, he's 1 player removed. So that's when you go ahead and you add him speculatively, and it worked out.
Ideally, the other guy ended up getting hurt that same week. So it was perfect, perfect storm. But now. I mean, roster space is too valuable right now. You can't.
And he's on the bye.
What about Landry? Is Landry a lock for you guys now? He's clearly the receiver one.
Locked to play or locked to roster?
Locked to roster. And given that we're this late in the season,
a player like Landry, I can't drop because if I'm in a pinch, he at least can give me something. Because he's the main wide receiver for that team, and I can at least play him and be like, "There's a chance something can happen," you know. But if I can, I'm not going to start him. You know, I don't know what happened with Landry this year. Is he because he's injured or that offense changed?
Remember, I disrespected Landry to start the year, and then he played. He had 1 or 2 good games, and I was like, man, let me apologize.
Was that when we were doing the Landry Boyd conversation?
Probably. I don't remember. But then he proceeded to be exactly who I thought he was going to be.
But he also was hurt. He was hurt for a fair amount of games.
He was. But I agree with you on your assessment. He's a player that in a pinch, if you need, you got.
Would you start Donovan Peoples-Jones?
No.
Or is it just no receivers there can be trusted?
Yeah.
Damn, Baker, what do you do, man?
I know
Baker's
It's terrible.
Baker might be out of there too. I mean, but they got to make a decision.
Where else they gonna go though? That's the issue.
Ain't about where he's gonna go. They just don't want him no more. He was the number 1 pick too.
The problem is that theoretically they got players on that defense and they could potentially be a very, very good defense.
Are they still in the thick of the race?
They have a very good O line. Everybody's in the race right now. They got a very good O line. They got 2 elite backs. So theoretically, like they are like a playoff team with like Super Bowl aspirations. So do you want to like start over? And you can't get anybody. Like where else you gonna go? So then you're gonna waste your entire roster. Sometimes you just.
Do you think they make the playoffs?
Ooh,
Because I know the Ravens are above them. I know the Bengals are above them. I don't know where they are with the Steelers.
Steelers are not making the playoffs. Steelers they're done.
But I'm saying if they can't pass the Steelers, there's no way the Browns can make the playoffs, right?
They can pass the Steelers.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the Steelers for a second. Let's talk about Najee. I think Najee is probably going to be top 3 pick in the draft in redrafts next year.
I don't know about that.
Top 3?
I don't know about that.
Top 3.
You got Taylor. You got
Eckler.
No, I'm not taking. I like Najee. He should definitely go in the first round. The problem, the issue will be who is going to be quarterback, and what is like this team going to look like.
Do you think it's possibly Ben? I think Ben's done.
Ben is done.
He's got to be done. But if it's not Ben, then who is it? If it's Mason Rudolph, y'all are in trouble.
I hope it's not Mason Rudolph. I hope they're
So
not that
it
stupid.
depends on who's coming out. So this
Could
is
be
where
Dwayne Haskins.
this is where it's hard to like kind of project where he's going to go, because if it's somebody who's decent and somebody we can kind of trust, at least get these guys the ball.
What if it's
and
Jimmy
just shoot the ball.
Garoppolo?
Say what?
What if it's Jimmy G?
Ooh.
If it's Jimmy G, I'm fine with that.
I think I am too, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's a good match.
Jimmy G is going to have listen,
fine with Jimmy
there are a
G.
lot of teams who would take Jimmy G on their roster right now.
Yeah, 'cause Jimmy
Not
G
with
is
that
shaking
contract,
down.
though.
That's true. That's fair.
That they got to do something with that contract.
Yeah.
That's fair.
We'll see what
But
happens.
there's a lot of weapons on that Steelers offense. They still got
They got
Claypool,
ultimate
still
weapons.
got Deontay.
They got
yeah.
Freiermuth, who's a rookie.
Yeah.
Najee.
Washington.
Man, that's a great opportunity for a quarterback to go up there and do well.
I mean, you can see Aaron Rodgers. That could be Aaron Rodgers next up.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about him.
If that defense gets healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about them fantasy wise. Claypool was a little banged up, came back, was solid last week. Do you guys feel comfortable starting any receiver outside of Deontay Johnson and outside of Claypool? Would you start Washington in the playoffs?
Hell no.
No.
I mean, even Claypool himself, he's a tier above Jarvis Landry in terms of how I feel. If I feel comfortable starting these players, like probably in most, especially FFPCs where we start in 2 flex, probably in most he's in there. But I definitely have some teams where I sit him some weeks. It just kind of depends. The good thing about the Steelers right now is that their defense has been so banged up that that they're going to be in negative game scripts. So they're going to be passing the ball, so he's getting targets. And then, teams, I think have just become like they are well aware of the end around that they run near the goal line with Chase Claypool. So those easy touchdowns that he was getting last year, he just
Don't forget with Chase though, when he got hurt, they were saying it could be like several weeks, and I think he only missed 1 week.
Yeah.
So there's a chance he might still be working his health back.
But he's not an elite wide receiver. I know we were drafting him like with the idea that, and again, this is what we're changing it from next year, at least what I'm changing. But we were drafting with the idea that he could maybe take that next step and become an elite. But he's not that guy. He's not that guy. At least not right now. He's just a big body, wide receiver who can win, potentially win those 50-50 balls. But he's not, as far as route running, gaining separation, he's not there.
Yeah.
So let's move to the NFC North because I want to talk about a receiver that I thought was going to be that receiver one, Allen Robinson. I want to talk about the Chicago Bears right quick.
Gross.
Listen, a lot of people have dropped Allen Robinson. I don't have him.
You should.
At all. But is there any?
I'm not going to take a victory lap on Allen Robinson. I'm not going to say that I was against Allen Robinson because I wasn't. I at no point did I ever come out and say, do not draft Allen Robinson, or that's a bad play, or I feel like he's going to underperform. But there was just I think there was some gut feeling about clicking on Allen Robinson in the 3rd round because when I have so few shares of Allen Robinson, where basically you pretty much could have gotten him whenever you have gotten him, and we can blame the quarterback play, we can blame the injuries, etc. But I guess I've seen so many years of Allen Robinson really just excelling his situation. He's never been in a good situation. And I think my gut was let's not play that game again. Let's not
almost
with the
Russian
rookie
roulette.
quarterback.
You keep risking
let's not risk that game again.
Yeah.
And now we're just seeing Darnell Mooney basically
Balling out.
He's balling.
Yeah,
He's been balling.
taking over the reins as the number 1. But it's also the offense is again Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he's in that. I mean, he's a little bit of tier above Jason Garrett, but he's still down there.
Yeah, like Nagy,
of like players
Nagy
like
is
I
out
don't,
of there,
you know,
man. He's out of there. That's just
you want to avoid like drafting players if you can on these guys' teams, on these offensive coordinators' teams.
Listen, mark my word, Justin Fields is about to fall into, in the coming years, it's going to fall into this Baker Mayfield category where he's going to be getting different head coaches year after year, different offenses, and he's never going to get his feet under him. I think he has talent. I just don't see light at the end of the tunnel. I just don't. Like,
I feel like I see some promise, but I don't know.
I don't know. I might be sided with a little bit what Chris is saying. Yeah. I don't know. Like he has he has certain traits, but I don't know if he's gonna ever put it all together and be elite. And I don't know if he's gonna have enough time to work that all through because he's not on a team again. We'll see. I'm pretty sure they're going to fire the coach this year. But I don't know if he's in a situation where he's just going to all of a sudden have the opportunity. So we'll see what happens, man.
Are you rostering any Chicago running back other than David Montgomery? Are you rostering Damian Williams or Khalil Herbert?
I'm taking I'll leave Herbert on a roster where there's deep benches. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. If I got the room, I'll keep him. But I'm not making an effort to hold on to either of them. Only because this goes back to what we were talking about before the season started. For when I pick up any kind of backup running backs, I like for them to have some kind of standalone value where even if they're not starting, I can put them in and they'll give me something. But there's some of these backup running backs where if they're not starting, they literally give you zero. You know? And if that happens, I'm going to be hurt.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm going to be kicking myself after the fact like, damn, why was I dumb enough to play that, you know, so.
But the thing is, how many running backs are like that? But you got Hunt, Naheem Hines. I mean, like, how many running backs are you really putting into that standalone category?
I mean, it's really those running backs where you see they have these timeshares. Like, we talked a few about them before. We talked about the Dolphins a little bit, talk about the Bills, talk about the Jets, you know. I know we haven't talked about the Texans yet, but the Texans kind of have it a little bit. The Saints, now they got Mark Ingram, probably have it a little bit. The Raiders, we've seen Drake have games, you know, and so you know you have teams.
Jamal Williams at one point.
He's back now. Obviously, he's back now. The Titans, we saw last week 100-yard back. So I mean it's there, but for the Bears. And it's the same thing I'm saying as far as Dearness Johnson. Once that starter came back, it's almost like they said, okay, appreciate what you did for us, but we don't care how talented you are. Go sit on that bench. We don't need you anymore. You know. So
let's talk about the Lions for a second because Swift is banged up. We just talked about Jamal Williams. Looks like he's going to be the starting running back this coming week. Did you stash Jamal Williams? Because I know that. So I dropped him.
I dropped him a few places. I dropped him, but so here's the thing. I dropped him. Like I was mad at Jamal Williams for a long time. So I tried to drop him as many places as I can. I thought I dropped him everywhere. I'm looking at my roster now. I still have like several. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play him this week. But I really thought, like, let's put it like this. It was Thursday night, right? Thanksgiving. Thursday morning. When I saw DeAndre Swift get hurt, because right when it happened, I was like, oh. I knew it.
Let's go and check.
The way he went down and the way he stayed down, I was like, okay. It's a wrap. I was like, damn, why did I drop all my Jamal Williams? You know, like, what the hell?
I didn't even want to text you. I was like,
then when I did my search, Jamal Williams, I saw him on like 16. I was like, oh, okay.
I still got some shares.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I actually have more Jamal Williams than I did Swift.
Oh, snap.
I didn't have a lot of Swift, though, you know, so it was like, cool, you know, but I had more Jamal Williams. So, I you know, it kind of sucks. But let's not ignore, before we get too far, don't forget, and we talked about, I think, on the last pod, or maybe the pod before that, Jamar Jefferson, and now Godwin Ibikwe. I don't even know. I've never even really looked at his last name. But those are two guys that have talent, and they've done stuff. And Jamal Williams hasn't been the healthiest. They're now one injury away type thing. And they've even had work with Jamal Williams and Swift, you know, active, which tells you they have a little bit of standalone value.
Honestly, I think Jamal Williams is a trap play.
This week or in general?
This week.
But this week I think they have a great match. Who are the Lions playing?
He's playing Minnesota.
They playing Minnesota.
I'm playing Mike. I got
I would play him this week. I would play him this week, but again, I could easily see him get hurt. Easily.
I could see him not getting the touches that we think that he's going to get.
I think he's going to get the touches. I think the way they brought him in, the type of sort of kind of player he's been for them, and as far as just doing what being a great teammate, having a very positive attitude. This is
good
like,
locker room guy.
Yeah, this is like one of the
guy.
So we're gonna give you some carries.
Yeah,
we like your attitude.
Well, this is one of the few times where they'll actually be able to feature him.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to take this away from him. Now, I think, again, kind of approaching this from like a macro level, Detroit is one of those teams where like they have no playoff aspirations.
Right.
So I'm very hesitant to like drop a Jamar Chase in a deep
Jamar Jefferson.
In a deep bench league with the thought that like if these players kind of get a little bit nicked up, like we could be looking at a week 17 where like they're just resting starters and they're trying to just get a look at what they're.
Okay, so if you're gonna say that between the two, who would you rather roster if you can only roster one?
Okay.
Godwin or Jamar?
Oh, Jamar, easily.
Really?
Easily.
Godwin's look good though.
Godwin's look good, but he's got very, very limited touches, and they've basically been like, okay, this player looks like he needs a spell. Let's get him out there.
And when they had the time to start, I mean, but they featured Jamar at least for one game. At least we got a chance to see him.
Yeah, Jamar is the guy they want to be.
Yeah.
He scored and he got hurt, and then they put Godwin in and he didn't get hurt and he scored too. So it's almost like they see Godwin can carry the load and still score for them, while Jamar is a small guy, 7th round pick. I think it was a 28th pick in the 7th round. So it's not like they have a lot of draft capital in him. I don't know.
Yeah, the way that I saw it, because I watched that game pretty closely, and again, I could be completely wrong, but the way that I saw it was that Jamar was part of the game plan in terms of making sure he gets some touches, whereas Godwin was more so, okay, this guy needs to be spelled. Let's get him in there.
One thing I'll say about Godwin is he used to be a safety. They converted his position recently, and he's older guy. Don't say like 27 or 28.
Exactly. So
I think those two things are kind of against him.
We spent way too much time on the Detroit Lions.
Oh, we didn't mention. Sorry, one last thing. Josh Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
He may be the number one.
Oh, he is. I thought we mentioned him last time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I thought we mentioned that. But he is he's the best receiver on their team right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to pick him up.
If you need a receiver, because in some of my leagues I need a receiver.
Yeah.
He was available in damn near all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
I
picked him up.
And he's the number one receiver. And he just scored a touchdown.
Yeah. Like I just fell into, a few weeks back.
And guess where he played before the Titans released him?
Where?
With who?
Oh yeah, Jared Goff.
He played
with the Rams.
With Jared Goff.
That's why he wanted to go there. That's why I was happy. He got reunited. Reunited, and it feels so good.
All right, let's talk about Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, banged up toe. Doesn't seem like he's going to get surgery. I think he said in an interview that he's not going to get surgery on the banged up toe. I'm just saying, like I'm
just laughing at Aaron Rodgers because this season just been so funny about him. Like everything,
he's been kind of a diva right now.
It's weird.
It's a diva season.
He loves the attention.
Yeah.
Okay? He loves kind of being like the star of the room. He loves being the smartest person in the room.
Believing he's the smartest person.
Well, that's what he thinks. So like that's what the whole we're not gonna get into the whole COVID thing, but like that I think that's just who he is. So like him about the toe, add to my resume. I'm doing this with the broken toe.
Right. He's trying to use the toe like Jordan used the flu game.
We've already seen 2 games with him with this toe, dominate. Now he has a bye to rest up a bit. I'm not worried about Aaron Rodgers.
Are you rostering any Jordan Love, or are you just gonna see if you can pick him up?
Rostering?
No.
Rostering?
No.
Just rostering. I'm not saying
he shouldn't be on any teams. Honestly, other than Dynasty, he shouldn't be on any teams.
No.
All right, so you're not even rostering, even with the banged up toe?
No. Cut that part of the tape. People don't even
we didn't even give you that idea. Go find somebody else. No, don't roster him.
I do want to give you some love, though. A.J. Dillon, you've been beating that drum for a long time. He looks good. To be honest, he looks like the future of the Green Bay Packers.
Don't start that because now people are going to say, oh, he looked better than Aaron Jones.
He looked good, man.
In some places he kind of did, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Like he looks
good. So
here's
the thing about that. Now, think about that on the way here. Mm-hmm. When Aaron Jones is out, he didn't do that great.
Right.
He had an okay game. Aaron Jones came back. He had a great game.
Oh, so it's like Tony Pollard.
But even in that okay game, this is what changed. And remember we talked about it last pod. We were like, okay, AJ Dillon looks good. AJ Dillon looks good, but he's not getting goal line carries and he's not getting targets. And then what changed? Even with Aaron Jones being out and with Aaron Jones coming in, what changed? He's getting targets. And he's getting goal line carries. If he's getting targets and goal line carries, he's an every week starter.
Yeah. Oh, don't get it twisted. It looks like they're trying to set up to. And I think I mentioned this last pod too.
Yeah.
They might be getting ready. Aaron Jones, appreciate you.
Yeah.
But I think we good.
Yeah.
Because it's cold in Green Bay.
Yeah.
It's cold. And their defense, again, this is another defense that suffered injuries. And the rest of them players don't care. They don't care if they lost 2 of their star players on defense. Their defense has been playing lights out.
Yeah.
So the fact that they can play lights out and then run the ball.
They're missing some offensive linemen too, and they're still doing that.
And they're still doing what they're doing.
Yeah. So let's talk about Minnesota for a second. Dalvin Cook banged up. No one ever dropped Madison anyway, so it's not like Madison is going to be on waivers. Do you think Madison is going to show up this week and essentially fill in the way that he did the first time?
I did bring up the other guy once in our Dynasty Sleepers, right?
Rockway?
Yeah. Kenny.
Yeah.
I did bring him out. It might be time.
But did he get any work though? Like when? Because
he got one carry, but he's now run 2 kick returns back for touchdowns. He looks good, and again, he's the fastest guy on their team.
Yeah.
And I saw quotes this week. He's one player removed.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I saw this week, coaches have been saying he's gonna get work this week.
Yeah.
And
I know you've been searching for it too.
once that happens, if he shows up, man, it's so easy for them to say, you know what, we like what we saw. Let's give him a little bit more work until it gets to a point where like, man, we can't keep this guy off the field. You know, again, he's the fastest guy. So he's one of those guys where it's almost like Chris Johnson. Once he gets that gap, he's gone. You know, that's points. Now, I like Madison a lot. Madison, he does his thing. I'm not saying, ignore Madison. But like Abby just said, he's one injury away now.
Yeah.
And if he does get that work, and he might have, like I was just saying, that standalone value. He might have that standalone value, and you can get him for almost nothing right now. If you're in Dynasty, Keeney needs to be rostered easily. Yeah. Don't even second think. Just get him and just see what happens and kind of go from there.